Hello everybody, I am Fuzzy Face and welcome back to this Williams career on Motorsport Manager. We're back today with round 3. We are at the Beijing Grand Prix. We're at China. Practice looks like it's going to be raining. Qualifying looks like it's going to be rainy as well, so we might be able to get some out of qualifying. Although, if you watched the first video, you will have listened to me explain that I have extended the qualifying. It is just a one-session qualifying session to hopefully help the AI get around it when it's raining. If you do like a 10-minute qualifying session and it's raining, the AI is not the best at getting their cars out on track when the track is dry, so we'll just send them out on intermediates, even if the intermediate tyres are the wrong choice. So by extending the qualifying session to 30 minutes, it sort of lets the AI do 3 runs, so they will get themselves around that problem. So we're not going to be able to sort of game the system and get a little bit higher up. Maybe it'll work out, maybe it won't, I don't know. But anyway, last time out we were in Canada, not Canada, what am I saying? We were in Bahrain at the Doha Grand Prix. We didn't do too badly, 12th and 16th, not bad for this Williams car. Sauber didn't finish in the points again, which is good for us after they scored 4 points in the opening race of the season. Toro Rosso, I think we're outside the points as well. Yes, Gasly just outside. So we are not currently bottom of the constructors, although Renault I wouldn't expect to stay pointless for very long. Beijing, engine heavy here. Engine is crucial. We do have one of the better engine. It is 5th overall, although it's seemingly gone down. That was a green bar last time, so a couple of the other teams must be upgrading their car. Again, if you watch the first video, I have set myself limits of when I can introduce updates to this car. Tondela, we can start introducing aero packages to the car. Vancouver is sort of a general upgrade package. We can bring anything we want, including engines. And then after that, I think I said it was Milan, and then at Phoenix for the American Grand Prix. And they're the only times that I can introduce updates to the car. As regards to upgrades in this car, we're currently working on getting our aero package ready for the next Grand Prix after this Chinese one, so hopefully we can make some gains there. When we get these new parts in the car, we might be a little bit quicker, get us more towards the top 10. We're working on getting the performance there as well. We do have some big leaps. We can get up to an 812 from a 700, for example, on the rear wing. We can get up to an 826 on the front wing from 700, so some pretty big gains there to be made aero wise. Whether they're going to be there or thereabouts, we can't see where that puts us in the list until we actually fit those parts to the car. As regards to the last race as well, Lance Stroll has a dodgy neck. We'll just get into that in a second, so we'll just have a quick look at what happened during the gap from the last Grand Prix to this one. Robert Kubica started racing bike, so he's got a +1 to his smoothness, a +5 to his marketability. Lance Stroll has had an argument with the chairman. He's made our chairman unhappy with us for him having an argument with him. So maybe that is like could lead to his out, us having an out for him being made the reserve driver. He does have a dodgy neck. We are going to get into that. We built that other rear wing that I just showed you 2 of them. Paddy Lowe wants a design centre built, and that's it. We've got the induction into the GMA, which will be happening after this race, which is for the removal of the Phoenix Grand Prix. One of them, if you've seen before, again, we do have the oval track at the end of the season. I don't know whether it's going to be the oval track they want to remove, this one, which will be the last race of the season, or whether it will be the longer course at Phoenix. Other than that, we got bonus points for driving pole positions, spec gearboxes, or pre-distributed tyre compounds. None of those which I want brought in, but I'll probably just abstain from the voting because I want to save my votes just in case they tried to bring 3-stage qualifying back, or the ERS system, both of which I hate in this game. So I'll be saving my votes to get rid of them. Otherwise, we're still 10th car-wise, still 10th driver-wise, staff decent, a pit crew the best in the game. We usually have sub 2-second pit stops. We're at over 2 seconds because we've got some fatigued crew at the moment, so we're not at our strongest pit crew-wise. Anyway, let's jump into selecting this. So Lance Stroll does have this dodgy neck at the moment, so we are going to be leaving him at home. We're going to be foregoing his payment of, I think it's 900,000-ish? 891,000 we're going to have to be making do with going without here. So he's going to be left at home. Robert Kubica is going to be coming into the car, so we'll see if that brings any sort of more performance, whether he can get up into the points for us, see how much stronger he is than Stroll, see how much better he is than Sorokin. hopefully, if he gets into the points, then obviously he's gonna have won that seat. And we're going to have no choice but to replace Stroll, I would guess, because we do sort of need the points. I did want to try and keep Stroll and Sorokin as the main two drivers for as long as I could, but with Sauber scoring those points early on, we might be forced into sort of going with Kubica, sort of that last-ditch effort coming really early into the season. He was going to be getting the seat maybe later on in the season if we were still struggling, but... And Beijing is such a short track as well. We've got 47 laps for this Grand Prix. So anyway, we're going to be skipping over practice and qualifying as usual. And we will be back in a moment to go through the qualifying grid. So here's the grid for round 3, the Chinese Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel, Lewis Hamilton, the front row of the grid. Look at that, how much they're separated by. Really close here. Sub 1 minute times at this Chinese Grand Prix. The second row of the grid is Kimi Räikkönen in the Ferrari, Daniel Ricciardo in the Red Bull, Max Verstappen follows his teammate in 5th place. The Renault having a good qualifying session as well. If you remember in the last race, Nico Hülkenberg finished 3rd on the grid. He finished really low down in the race, so hopefully that's going to happen here and we stay ahead of Renault in the constructors standings. On the 4th row of the grid, Valtteri Bottas, a worrying time for him. He didn't do too well in the last qualifying session as well. Only 7th in the Mercedes this time around. The Haas of Kevin Magnussen up in 8th. Alonso in the McLaren 9th place. And Romain Grosjean rounding out the top 10 in his Haas. Van Dorn improves a little bit better from last time. 11th place in the McLaren Force India of Esteban Ocon in 12th. Then we've got Perez, Hülkenberg, the Force India and Renault Sport respectively in 13th and 14th. Marcus Ericsson 15th. Pierre Gasly 16th in the Toro Rosso. And then we get our first car, Robert Kubica in 18th on the 9th row of the grid. In front of him is Brendan Hartley in the Toro Rosso. And then we see our guy, Sergei Sorokin, last place. And he's just beaten out by Charles Leclerc for 19th place. Not much of a time difference between our two drivers, which is sort of... which possibly will give Lance Stroll the seat once he's back fit enough again. Kubica's probably got another Grand Prix before Lance Stroll is fit again, so he's got another race to sort of prove himself, but only being 6/100ths of a second in front is not enough of a gap or difference to forego that almost £900,000 for having Lance Stroll in the driver's seat of this, well, it is the first Williams really, but pretty poor qualifying session once again. But hopefully once we get the upgrades for the next race, we might be able to improve a bit. Decent start for Robert Kubica here. He's managed to get past Pierre Gasly in the Toro Rosso, past the other Toro Rosso of Hartley. Is alongside Marcus Ericsson now. Is he going to be able to make that stick? The Sauber and Toro Rossos, of course, our main competitors here. Maybe Kubica's half a star rating will translate more into race performance. Maybe he's going to have a good race. Obviously, if he gets into the points, then he's got this seat secured. Let's just speed this up a little bit. We're following Sergio Perez at the moment. Sorokin still struggling all the way down in 20th place. He does a 1 minute and a 1 minute and a half a second for Robert Kubica, who's still 15th, holding on to this place pretty well. So should we push the fuel a little bit here? There's 47 laps to recover, which means we can recover 0.1 per lap. So should we risk the engine a little bit? We're pretty decent for reliability, so if we push a little bit now, try and open up a little bit of a gap ahead of this Toro Rosso, try and keep at pace with the Force India of Perez. We've got both our guys on soft tyres to start with, just to try and get a decent start away from the grid here, and then we'll possibly finish the race on a hard tyre, and then maybe after that, if we can, go for a medium or another hard tyre. But we can just sort of blast through this soft tyre now, and we'll have some clear air once we've pitted. That is sort of the plan here. So we've opened up a little bit gap over the Toro Rossos, which we should do since they're on the harder tyre compound. But there's not much real difference between the times at the moment. Sorokin's still struggling here. He's off pace at the moment. He can't get to any of the Saubers in front of him. Should we try push him a little bit and maybe get him in and out of the pits first? So if we get him pushing, try and get him through a few of these cars. He makes a move over Marcus Ericsson and Brendan Hartley there. He's got Marcus Ericsson in his sight. No, that's Charles Leclerc on his sights as he goes down the pit straight. And now he's got Pierre Gasly in his sights as well. Manages to get past him pretty easily. So should we do the same? Just get this soft tyre out of the way, because then we should be able to go the distance on the 2 hard tyres for the other 2 stops. So should we get that out of the way? Should that be? We've got to try and think up some new strategies of trying to move up the order in the race, because our drivers are not up to standard at all. We've got to try. We're just sort of stuck behind this Force India now. Low fuel delta because we're 1 lap of fuel down, which gives us about 1 lap. We can't actually look before the race. It's just a 0.1 of 1/10 of a second that he gave having a lap down. But we do manage to make that move on Sergio Perez now. We've got the other Force India of Esteban Ocon in front of us now. Got both our cars pushing, so Sorotkin's almost done on these tyres. He managed to do 7 laps. It's going to be a push on these hard tyres, isn't it, as well? We might need to do another, just look after these tyres. These hards can go down to 0% as well, so that is decent as well. 10% risk there, so we're going to get Sorotkin in and out of the pits. We've opened up quite a bit of a gap here, so it looks like we've got a bit of a performance increase over the Saubers somehow. They're sort of struggling this race. We're a bit, well, pretty much because we're pushing the car all out, aren't we? So what we want to do, even pushing all out, we've not managed to get the tyres hot here, so maybe we can get another 2 laps out of Kubica here. We've had a couple of other cars into the pits as well, just Hulkenberg, Sorotkin's in. So Sorotkin now, we're going to look after these tyres from this point on, maybe recover the fuel as well. We're going to go into a period of the race where we try and just recover things here. Kubica meanwhile staying ahead of Perez, 28%. Now these tyres are going to fade, we might as well get him into the pits. Now we don't want to lose any time, because the softest tyre compound for the weekend, once you sort of dip below the 25% or 20% line, you do start really seeing a drop in performance. So we're going to get Kubica into the pits here. I don't think anyone else has pitted. Kubica drops down, he's out into 19th place, still ahead of Sorotkin, where they are about, just about where they were. We won't go for active recovery just yet. We'll push with Kubica a little bit. We do have time to recover this fuel, so we'll get him pushing, see if we can get him ahead of a few of these cars. So we're on the back of Stoffel Van Dorn now, and Magnussen. We've managed to catch a few of these cars higher up the grid, sort of where we were before we came into the pit. So let's go into high mode now for a little bit with Kubica. He's almost at two laps down on fuel, so from around lap 27 we'll have to start recovering this fuel. Should we do it now so we have a little bit of room to push after the next pit stop, or should we wait until a lot of these cars have pitted? When we see these other cars pit, we'll start recovering. We'll also get Sorotkin pushing for a little bit as well now. So we've got a few cars starting to feed into the pits. None of these cars, that's Alonso that's coming out of the pits there. None of these cars that are really sort of going to be challenging us. We want to sort of stay ahead of Ericsson and Hartley, Gasly as well. We're 13 seconds behind them, so it looks like that it's a pretty short pit lane here in China. I'm not quite sure what it is to be in and out of the pits, but we'll just go, we'll speed this up to 12 times the speed since there's not much happening. Who's that? And that's coming to the pits. That is Roman Grosjean. We're going to be on the back of him, so we've gained a little bit of ground to the cars in front. We're following Fernando there. Did I click on his? Must have clicked on him up there, didn't I? Yeah, I'm more watching down here what's going on with the timing. So Kubica 18th, 19th. We've still got our competitors that way. There we go. We've got Perez. So are we going to get out in front of Perez here? Pretty close. Yes, we do. And Sorotkin gets right on the back of him. So we picked up a little bit of time there. What? He's gone for another hard tyre. They will have to change that again before the end of the race. So they're 2-stopping. We're going to try and 2-stop as well. Whether we can make these hard tyres last long enough. Obviously, we're going to just have to let them cool right down. Nothing we can do about that. We're just managing the tyres at the moment. Hulkenberg into last place. We're up into 16th. We're still waiting for Ericsson, Hartley to pit, Gasly to pit, Ocon to pit. Ocon is the car that we're chasing down. I don't think there's any chance of us getting in front of Ocon now. We're too far behind him. Although there we see Gasly and Ericsson pit. Ocon staying out a very long time on this hard tyre. It is at 18%. Are we going to see him pit this lap? We are. So where is Kubica now? We're not going to be able to get back near Ocon, are we? Although we've got a couple of other cars in the pits, the other Renaults. So right on the back of Ocon, and we get him out of the pits as well, up into 11th for Kubica there. So we're almost on the points here. But it's all about whether we can make these last. We need to somehow make these tyres last another 11 laps. They're down to 55%, it is doable. You can take these down to 0% without really seeing any drop off in performance. And oh no, that was Perez. Ocon, no, yeah, Ocon has got ahead, obviously, on the fresher tyres. He's gone for a soft tyre. I'm guessing he's going to go soft and then try and get a pair of hard tyres through to the end of the race. We might even see some of these cars go for 3 stops during this race, which might work in our favour. Sorokin, meanwhile, his tyres are a little bit down. We might have to conserve on these tyres. I know they're really cool. There's nothing we can do about it. We're just in a period now of tyre management, really. Not even bothered about the temperatures, just bothered about getting through to the end of this race. 11th and 13th for Kubica and Sorokin. So whilst we're just in a period of downtime here, we're not... Oh, who's that? That's coming into the pits. Ricciardo's made his second pit stop. He goes behind us, so we're up into the points. I don't think that is going to be possible for us until the end of the race. These tyres are getting pretty worn here, but let's just have a quick look around the grid. We've got Vettel in first place, Hamilton second, Verstappen a long way off the front two, and we've got Valtteri Bottas coming in for his second pit stop already. So he's going to start dropping down the order now. So Alonso moves up to 4, Magnussen 5th, Van Dorn 6th, Grosjean 7th, 8th, Kubica now up into 9th place. We've got the Red Bull of Ricciardo. He's on a soft tyre as well. So these top of the order cars, some of them might be pitting 3 times. Have they got the pace to try and pick things back up? Meanwhile, Sorokin, let's have a look at his lap times. He's doing a 1:01 at the moment. He's just sort of conserving these tyres. We're going to go to neutral. We'll just see what sort of laps time he goes quicker there as his tyre drops into the red. As we'll just watch these tyre performance times. We're at 1:15 for Kubica. His tyre should start dropping to the red. He does a 1:6. He drops into the red. A 1:9. Don't think we're losing much performance here. We see a 1:6. So we're not really losing any performance. We're just going to try to keep these guys out as long as we can. We see Magnussen in the pits as well. They're going to have to do another pit stop before the end of the race, so it might be touch and go whether we can get this other hard tyre through to the end of the race. We're going to run these down until they're almost at 0, because we're not you don't really lose any performance on the hardest tyre. We're still at the same sort of performance. Sorokin even goes quicker than his last couple of laps as well, and we're going to have to start going and try to recover some fuel as well. So can we get another lap out of this? No, we can't get another lap out of Sorokin. He's managed to do 19 laps, which bodes well for us getting through to the end of the race on this other hard tyre. Kubica, meanwhile, he's currently in 7th. He's going to do this one last lap as well. So can we go push on that? He's going to have to do a little bit of fuel recovery before the end of the race as well. He's managed to go 20 laps on this tyre. Just pushed it almost to its limits. He's still in the one. Still in the times that we're hoping for here. Sorokin, meanwhile, he's been in and out, so we might even have to conserve this tyre a little bit. I'm just going to have to see what the fuel recovery is like as well. So Kubica comes out of the pits in 15th, Sorokin is in 17th, but we've got a lot of these cars that will be pitting again, and might even need to pit again once after that. So we'll just have to see where we sort of feed back out once these pit stops are done. We're in fuel recovery mode at the moment. We will have to go at low mode for some point with Kubica. Sorokin's got no trouble recovering his fuel. He's under pressure as well from a couple of these other cars, but we're sort of focusing on Kubica at the moment because he's our best chance at scoring points in this race. Sort of securing himself for this seat. If he can score points over these next 2 races, then who's that we've got in the pits? We've got Roman. Oh, we've got rain coming. We've got rain coming. Oh, why didn't I check the weather? It said it was going to be clear for the race. We didn't really have any rain in qualifying either. Right, so we're going to have to try push these tyres and get them out of the way, aren't we? Whilst we can do. Let's just push on these tyres. We're going to have to pit for intermediates. Although a lot of these cars on intermediates have got into the pits and out. They are going to be struggling for the next couple of laps. Although not by too much. So we're going to try to do this one extra lap, and then we are going to have to come in for inters. Why did I not check the weather before we came into the pits? We've got enough of a gap between our 2 cars. Aye. Just when I thought we could be getting to the points, although we're 9th, you know, we're going to drop down the order as we come in for these pit stops, aren't we? Back out into 15th place. No. Just when it looked like we could be getting some points on the board here. We get rain. quite, although we've still got cars coming into the pits, cars coming into fixing, although we're going to get nowhere near the points. How much can these go as well? 13. We'll have to look after these tyres as well. We can't really push like this for very long. Can we do enough to get past Van Dorn here? No, we can't. We're going to have to sort of go back. Sirotkin's recovered his fuel. We're still touch and go with the fuel there. Oh, that is so disappointing. The weather said it was going to be sunny. I didn't even think to check the weather for this race. As we were going along, I thought it was going to be a full dry race because the weather looked good enough early on. It was going to be dry. I wish there was a little thing that popped up as well saying there's rain coming. Like a little assistant that could tell you that there's projected rainfall coming. Blue flag for Robert Kubica as he gets lapped by Sebastian Vettel, who's currently leading this Grand Prix. So just when it looked like we might be on the verge of getting points, thanks to making that hard tyre strategy work for us, it all just falls apart and we do have to make that third pit stop. We've got a car in the pits. That is Van Dorn coming into the pits. So we move up into 13th. I don't think any of these other cars are even going to think about pitting. We've got a blue flag now as Lewis Hamilton, who I think is injured. He's injured as well. He's got problems with that Mercedes car, but Mercedes look to have recovered a little bit. They've had two really poor performances in the first two races, sort of. But yeah, we're up into 12th place. We've got Ericsson in front, Roman Grosjean. Grosjean has pitted. And we've managed to actually recover the fuel as well for Kubica, so you can go ahead into high mode for a little bit now as well as we come towards the end of this Chinese Grand Prix. We're sort of around where we have been for the other two races, like 12th and 16th, sort of around those positions. We've got Ocon behind. Is anyone else going to risk a pit stop? It doesn't look like it. It looks like these are going to be the places unless we lose a place to Esteban Ocon. Although we've got Marcus Ericsson in front who's struggling with his car a little bit as well. Although it's not enough to get near the points. Pierre Gasly's 10 seconds down the road, so yeah, let's just watch the fuel as well. His Inter's wearing out for Sirotkin, but it's not worth making a pit stop. The sort of rain didn't really get bad enough either. It sort of went into the thing. Could we have made it last on those hard tyres through the rain? I don't think we could have done. I don't think it would have worked, but it's not going to be... Oh, we've got Kimi Räikkönen coming back, having done 4 pit stops, so we're going to lose this 12th place maybe on this last lap. I don't think there's any way we're going to be able to hold off this Ferrari for the last couple of corners unless we go overtake mode, push on these tyres, and push for the last few corners for Sirotkin as well. Try and keep 12th place. Little mini victory if we can keep the Ferrari behind us. And there we go. We finish ahead of a Ferrari. 12th place. No points for us. Unfortunately, Toro Rosso score another point with Pierre Gasly. Thankfully, Leclerc, Ericsson does finish just outside the points as well. Thankfully, they don't extend their 4-point gap over us, so we do still have time to come back, especially when we're introducing new upgrades for the Tondela Grand Prix next. So hopefully that is going to make a little bit of a difference to us. It might not make the biggest difference, but we are gaining 100 points or over 100 points on both the front wing and the rear wing for the next race, so it might make a little bit of a difference. You never know, it might make the difference between 12th and 10th. Kubica's still got some time to prove, although we could have scored points in this race. I've got that feeling. If that rain didn't come, we were on course for scoring points. There we go, finished race, 12th and 16th. Not too bad considering the state of the team at the moment. But we do desperately need to get some points on the board because Sauber might score points at some race in the near future. So hopefully these upgrades on the car are going to work. And there we see Renault failed to score points again. Why didn't they actually finish there? Can we go that far back? They both finished really... Renault are really struggling this season, so it might be our saving grace that Renault continue to struggle. Even though they've got a really good car, they've got really good drivers, they're really struggling at the moment. But somehow we need to jump Toro Rosso and we need to jump Sauber at some point during the season to ensure our survival in Formula 1. Whether that can happen or not is another thing entirely. I'm sort of like almost want us to go down to Formula 2, although I don't really want that to happen, but that would be quite an interesting challenge of dropping down and seeing what happens when you drop down. I've never actually been relegated in this game, so it would be funny to try and see us get up from F2. But we've got a new unlock with the mechanic for Sergei Sorokin, risk taker, fast pit stops don't even matter with our Williams team, and Kubica, who drove in that last race, and we came above our expected result of 10th in 9th place. So Frank Williams is still happy with us. We only take home £600,000 in that race due to Lance Stroll not taking any part, and that is the difference. That's £1 million. That's £17 million almost over a season. It would be £16.1 million over the season almost that we get paid, thanks to having Lance Stroll in the team. It's just that question of, do we want the money to invest in the HQ and to invest in the car for next season, or do we want better performance with Robert Kubica? It's a hard one to answer, but if we keep struggling like we are, then we do need that little bit of extra performance from Robert Kubica. Maybe if Kubica has a really good race, or Sorokin ideally would be the one that we wanted to have a really good race, and then we wouldn't feel bad of taking Kubica out of the driver's seat, and then we can sort of work towards the end of the season and think about new drivers from next season from there. Robert Kubica also is listening to offers because he's really unhappy being the reserve driver here, so it is a risk putting him in the seat as well, because I don't think we're going to be able to recover his morale to sort of re-sign him next season. So we're sort of thinking about Sorokin as well. His contract's up as well, so we might have 3 new drivers next season. I do want to maybe keep one of Lance Stroll or Sorokin. We don't really have big upsides, so we might need whole new drivers for next season. But anyway, let's just get this interview out of the way. We really need to improve our car's performance level, which is what we want to do. We'll answer honestly, even though I know it's going to upset those two. Our fastest pit stop was 2.1 seconds, almost half a second slower than our season record. Hard fought wing, and this other rear wing build is finished. Can we go even further with this rear wing? Can we? We can build this a plus 60. Ooh, what can we do? Plus 40, plus. That one adds plus 40 to max. Takes off some reliability. High speed corners can get us to an 892 2 days after the next race. So would we be able to get that up and ready in time for Canada? I think we will. So we'll go ahead and no, I don't know. Is there anything we can do with the gearbox? Plus 20. And that the gearbox might be a little bit more important. Getting like a level across here rather than going, we can introduce this other rear wing later on in the season then. Yeah, let's just go with the gearbox. Plus 20, and then we can try and get this one as well. Add another 40 points onto the gearbox. Gearbox is where we're going to be concentrating, because we're going to try and introduce our engine and power upgrades in time for Vancouver. Obviously next time round we can introduce the new Aero parts into the car. So these couple of parts that we've got, we won't see what the rating is in relation to where we sit in relation to the other cars. We can see we've made a big improvement from down here to almost here. This is, these little arrows are the average. We're getting there. You know, it's like Tondela is going to be wet for the race next time as well, so we have to watch out for that in the next race. But anyways, that is it for this episode. A pretty decent Chinese Grand Prix. The rain messing up our strategy that we sort of worked out so well towards the end to try to do that 2-stop, going a long time on 2 sets of hard tyres. It didn't work out in the end though due to that rain coming. But anyway, that is it for this episode. We'll be back with the Portuguese Grand Prix next time. We'll be introducing upgrades, so hopefully we see some improved performance. We've got Kubica in the car as well, because Lance Stroll won't be recovered, and then we will have to make a decision from that point forward what we're going to do with the drivers heading into the race after that. But anyway, if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave a comment if you're so inclined to comment on this video. But until next time, I'll see you down the road in Tondela for the next Grand Prix, round 4 I think it is, and until then, goodbye.